Here's Jericho on Busted Open Radio talking about the new TV deal and explains what it means for the industry and how the experts were wrong. We're wrong. Yeah.
I think we proved a lot of so-called experts. We made them look like idiots. We knew what was going on with this.
They all have these little, that's why like Meltzer says the same thing that Jericho says, and then all the little idiots repeat it. It's the same thing. It's what happens, right? Like I say flute in the chat and you guys throw up the flutes. You know what I mean? But they know it's like these little signals to throw out. There's no one else going throw up flutes other than you guys. You're making the choice, right? I'm the proprietor of the Flute Gang. But what this is like an effort. It's like Tony Khan, Meltzer, Jericho. You have this group of people, right, who are influential in the space, right? Gatekeepers, if you will. I believe Jericho's bought into AEW, and no one's really talking about that, but I believe he's bought into it as well. Anyways, though, Jericho uses this thing to throw out there. We proved experts wrong. Like they're stupid. But meanwhile, the experts, the people claiming to be the experts are the ones who are all saying you're going to get $1 billion and all that, bro. The people like Bischoff and the quote unquote experts and Cornette and these people who you're really trying to talk about, who you're really speaking about. They always claim not to be experts. They just claim that from their experience and what they know, and if they had to estimate, whatever. So the people claiming to be experts, are you saying you proved them wrong? Yeah, you proved all the people claiming to be experts who said you were getting $1 billion wrong, Chris Jericho. That's what you did. And you guys are putting out this little thing that all the little sickos can parrot, can bot out there. Oh, the experts were proven wrong. That's what happens. You all do it. And it's like it's an agenda for sure. Now, does everyone have an agenda? I'm sure. But ultimately, we see through there's a reason Jericho, Tony McCann, Dave Meltzer, they all use the same vernacular. There's a reason for that, okay? And the Bucks, too. They tweeted some out about that. There's a reason. They're all in a group text together, like humping each other.
Just going to say that.
Yeah. The landscape changes constantly. Numbers go up, numbers go down. But the overall demo of what AEW brings to the table as a live sporting event is invaluable. So we knew that it was
a live sporting event. Bro, WNBA puts on better sport events than you. He talks more about the TV deal.
Something that people would want to be involved with and be a part of. And Warner Brothers Discovery didn't want to let us go anywhere. And you can see, I mean, $185 million a year for a company that's only been going for 5 years. That's never happened before, ever. Obviously, WWE is the standard, the gold standard. They didn't have a deal like that 5 years in. Nobody else has. So with all the growing,
where the world works, you idiot.
Pains.
It's so stupid.
Good and bad that AEW has. We're still such a young company, and that to me showed that we have a real commitment to. We're not going anywhere. Tony Khan's.
We are. He's bought into the company.
He's not going
he's got
anywhere.
that 10-year contract.
I'm not going anywhere.
He's bought in. It's more than that. It's a 10-year talent contract. He's invested. No other channel will go out on a limb and just say it blatantly. I'll tell you guys. Why is he talking like this? Have you ever owned anything, guys? That's how I'd be talking. If I owned some, and I was having my tours funded by Tony Khan.
I know, Drainmaker talks that way.
He puts up the money for Fozzy shows, and Husey talked about that on the show. I mean,
much to some people's chagrin, and neither is the rest of the company.
No one's chagrin. I'm happy. I'm so glad I get to watch Wrestle Dream. I'm so happy that I get to watch Wrestle Dream.
And I think it's going to be a really great next 3 to 5
really
years.
Great. Really great 3 to 5. Maybe 4. It all depends.
And listen, and Tommy and Bully know there's nothing worse than if AEW didn't get a great television deal. There's nothing better for the business, the fans, for you guys, for AEW to be thriving and to be healthy. And we are.
I don't know, because maybe TNT on WBD, maybe TNA on TNT would they take it more serious. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's actually good for the wrestling business that Tony Khan just got rid of Ring of Honor and New Japan suffering along with AEW, and as far as viewership and stuff like that, and TNA's cooking and they don't get a juicy TBS TNT WBD deal. You know what I mean? They don't get a sweet mag. Is that really good for the business? I mean, I'll say I guess it is if you like to watch pro wrestling, but I think a lot of people have brought it to this show. You know, it prices wrestlers out for these other companies who are like taking it more seriously. Tony needs help. I guess Jimmy Jacobs, we'll talk about that in a minute. I guess he was doing like a lot of the creative stuff. But over on Patreon, I watched the Tony Khan NFL Films thing, and you see it there. Like Will Washington is just there, you know, just hanging out with Tony. Will Washington was brought in as like the long-term booking guy, right? And then Tony Khan is like, there's no such thing as long-term booking at AEW. So then what is that guy doing? Just takes Jimmy Jacobs' job on the plane where Tony Khan was like, I'm going to leave the company to Danielson and Jimmy Jacobs if anything happens. Now it's him and Will Washington. It's like, I don't know, bro. It's not looking good, and Tony really spread really thin. He needs to figure out what he's doing. That's all. He's got to figure out somebody who can come in and really, maybe it's Shane O'Mac. Maybe that's what these conversations have been about, but I don't think Tony ever gives up the creative power. So Tony Khan,
of course,
comments on the possibility of a roster split following the AEW media rights negotiations. Tony Khan goes, it's not a bad thought. It's an interesting thought. I definitely have considered many iterations of roster management and still working on some really interesting things in terms of the future of AEW media and the future of the roster. It's early to speculate on that, frankly, going into the new deal and what's to come. But it's a very interesting thought. And to be honest, I have reflected on it and thought about it. It's not going to happen. He always gives this kind of answer. He should do it. I think he should have just did it with Punk, a hard full-on roster split, which they kind of semi tried to do. But ultimately, I'm doing a video that's not like on the pod. I'm going to do like its own video where I'm going to basically go through the rosters of AEW, WWE, every company. And I'm going to say like who I'd keep, who I'd scrap. And that's coming soon.
Awesome.
As far as a brand split, sure. Try whatever, Tony. You got the money. You know,
sure. Whatever you want to do.
We're already doing whatever the Who cares? So speaking of that same media call, the pre-Wrestle Dream media call, and I'm going to want Doses and Chris's and Jake's thoughts on this. On today's media call with Tony Khan, SRS asked WB if WBD has any equity in AEW, and Khan responded with the following answer. Let's listen.
There had been a lot of questions regarding WBD possibly having equity in AEW. It wasn't featured in the press release or the Variety story, but Sports Business Journal had mentioned it. When I spoke to people from WBD and AEW, they had indicated that they didn't provide that information for Sports Business Journal's story. And a court revealing indicated that if they do own a piece of AEW, it wouldn't be at least 10%. Are you able to provide any clarity on if WBD does have any equity in AEW?
Well, it's a fair question. You know, I would not get into our ownership structure beyond saying I have 100% of the voting stock.
I will not get into our ownership structure. Ownership structure, meaning WBD is not the only people bought into this. We know he just confirmed it. He just confirmed it, right? His dad, him. He just confirmed Warner Bros. Is by not confirming they aren't, guys, right? It's all about, that's how these embellishing the truth and lying by omission and things like that. That's what these people do. They're all carnies. So he didn't confirm they didn't. So that sort of confirmed he did by proxy, I guess, or as a result. And also, therefore, he talks about this structure. And I am saying right here, bringing it back, Chris Jericho owns some of this bitch. Meltzer might too. And Eric Bischoff brings up a compelling argument, Bischoff does, as to why Meltzer, he's like, dude, how the fuck would Meltzer know they're going to be profitable? Like, why does he say, I know they will be? He's either talking or he knows, he's looking at what they're going to bring in because he's bought in. Now, I don't believe he is. I think it's more likely he'd be getting paid by this.
Yes.
than owning any of it. However, Jericho owns some of this. I promise you, man, there's an ownership structure. I bet you the Bucks are bought into some of it too. I bet you they own a 1% or something. It wouldn't shock me at all, man. So, he just said it right there without saying it. And that's what we do here.
Yep.
In PWT, we uncover that. Yeah, give me a yeah. Hold on a sec. We're uncover Phil Scoops here. Can I get a yeet?
Yeet.
Stock in this company and have since the beginning, and hold the vast majority of shares. And I think that's
he holds the vast majority of shares, but he owns 100% of the voting power. Terrible. If you're bought into that, it's basically like we're just sort of siphoning off this billionaire and let him do what he does until he fails, and I'll just sell my offer. He'll buy it from us before it goes out of business. When the fire sale starts, I'll sell my shares to him and get the out. Like it's all it is, man. It's kind of sad actually, but I mean, I guess maybe it's good for wrestling, kind of. I guess I don't know.
fair to say. As the sole voting owner and the vast majority shareholder of the company, I think that, speaks volumes, and I'm the controlling owner with 100% voting control of the business.
Oh, yeah, that speaks volumes, bud. Rob Van Dam is signed to a WWE Legends deal, which allows him to work with AEW. And then he tweeted out, he's like, I love how a deal I signed like years ago is now the talk of whatever. And in doing so, what did he also confirm that I've been saying? Sting's been on a WWE Legends deal this whole time, bro. Whenever WWE wants, they can sell Sting merch and give him a cut of it. I'm telling you, they have a deal with him. They can put him in games if they want. They just don't, because he's tied with AEW. RVD's had this deal too, went and worked with AEW. These Legends deals haven't, even with Vince in charge, hasn't been preventing these people from doing too much. But right now what's interesting is we're seeing like JBL Legends deal. He's showing up at indies everywhere doing stuff. But it's just great, man. Have the biggest WWE video game rosters of all time, have merch of all. That's what I want. I want to see the WWE universe thriving, and I want to see AEW after 20 years create a bunch of their own guys. You know what I mean? Instead of just having all ex-WWE guys. Here's another hilarious Tony Khan video. I don't know when this is from, but if it's an oldie, it's a goodie. We secured the bag.
You'll also be there on TNT.
Speaking of Time Cop, Dose.
You'll also be there on TNT. You'll be in two places at once. It'll be a lot like my favorite movie. Time Cop. This is so great.
Time Cop. He actually puts it on the Titan, Sean.
He pauses for the fans to say it too. How embarrassing.
And then the crowd just starts laughing like, what the f are you doing?
Yeah.
And why don't you if you love the movie so much, why don't you bring Jean-Claude Van Damme onto AEW or something, you weirdo? What the
Well, we're about to have a great rampage, and it's a thank you.
Jean-Claude's like, I don't know, this freaking weirdo, man. He keeps plugging the movie.
Rampage.
Have him fight the Costco guys. You know what I mean? Little Time Cop versus the. It's like when WCW brought RoboCop in. Time Cop.
No, he'd put them together.
Franchise.
He'd put them together, and they'd be Time Costco, because he's got to have everybody's got to have a terrible team and group name. It's Time Costco.
And don't forget, guys, the TV deal.
Because we have just secured the bag. Because we have just secured the bag.
We have just secured the bag. I'm an AEW fan, but AEW has done damage to ROH and NJPW. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, man. AEW has directly impacted New Japan Pro Wrestling. Check out Marie Shadows. She covers that way better than I do because she's a real, true New Japan mark. And also ROH is just is AEW's version of WWE CW. RoboCop first time cop book it. Never forget. Always remember this photo. Tony Khan double fisting the double mics, bro.
Shake
I think
weight,
that's
Tony
the
Khan.
first. So Mercedes Moné credits herself as being a factor in WWE signing Stephanie Vaquer. And I just was like, of course she does. I don't agree with her I think it was more AEW you have to give credit to for that, just in general. But she outshone Mone in that match, in my opinion. And so I think that's what got her the job. But WWE is scouting her forever, like for a while. It's just hard when people aren't like very fluent in English, believe it is 2024. I know they don't care about that as much, obviously, especially like in MMA, like they don't give a fuck if you can speak English or not. But, you look at Alex Pereira, he can't speak a word of English. He's the biggest star ever. Well, like not ever, but in this generation, he's like the only guy, he's like the biggest guy in UFC and MMA right now and stuff like that. As far as like star power. So they don't care about it as much, but it's still a factor. And I'm sure that was why they didn't just bring her in right away. But anyways, of course, Mone takes credit for it. She's got that main character syndrome, and that's okay. But Vaquer, I think, responded to that somewhere. I think I have it. Stephanie Vaquer commented on her recent AEW New Japan Forbidden Door match with Mercedes Mone and said, "Before that match, I had 4 days of just sleeping on planes and weeks of working daily. So many hours without eating. A great challenge with great wrestlers. She was really nice. When you work hard for a long time, it always brings rewards." So I don't know. I think Mone, Takeshita just won. So Mone sort of taking credit and Vaquer saying, like, I don't know, I came in and looked as good as I did. And really, I don't, like, you know what I mean? I don't know
He's
how
trying
good.
not to say Mercedes Moné's full of crap.
Yeah, exactly. I just think like Vacker's kind of saying like, look, man, you didn't make me look any sort of way. Like I come ready, but whatever. It is what it is. Shout her out, and she's going to be a huge star. I know, dude, and I've said it before, when I make videos about her, they get views. So that's all I'll say. You know what I mean? Her and Julie about to blow up, and shout out Vaquer. I'm a huge fan. As far as just her coming in, like, I don't know her last body of work, but her match in AEW, I did the live watch along for that pay-per-view actually. And, we were like, damn, that Vaquer girl looked better than Mone. And then you go on, everyone's talking about her. She's doing numbers. WWE scoop her up right away. It's her dream to be in WWE. People stop tearing away at her dreams. I say the same thing. Hey, Edge worked forever in the business, wants to go get $3 million a year. Let him go do it. You know what I mean? Don't rip that away from him. Don't rip this away from Vaquer and take the credit for her lifelong journey of her dreams coming true. You goddamn pussies. No. MJF is in Happy Gilmore too, in a significant role. He was filming throughout September and wrapped last week, or the last week of the last month. He's expected to be returning to AEW sooner than later, and he's also secured a role in another movie featuring Justin Long and Ron Perlman. I think I might be wrong. I heard Vince Vaughn's in that, or am I totally wrong about that and conflating two things? I don't know, but there you go. MJF doing the damn thing, and good for him, but he's back for a little stint against Garcia and Adam Cole, I guess, so we'll see what comes of that. And I'm looking forward to Happy Gilmore too. So here we go, guys. Here's a new segment, breaking news. We have breaking news for you guys. Breaking news. Here's a French lesson with Phil. Mercedes Mone is correct. And if you guys are watching at home, look at the screen and you will see the spelling of my tweet on the right-hand side of your screen. Here's French with Phil, okay? Mercedes Mone is correct. Mercedes Mone is not. In French, the hard A sound comes from this accent over an E. It's called l'accent aigu, or the acute accent. This accent over an E, like the backward slash, accent grave, makes an S sound, like in the word head or dead. And I don't know who started doing this E with the accent grave with her name, or if she started it, but it's wrong and someone should inform people. And I don't know who started it, but that's all I see online. Everyone's spelling it the wrong way. You're not supposed to spell it with this backwards accent E. Now, I'm not giving people, I'm a sicko for this one, for analyzing this, but as en français, I should correct people. And the correct E is the other way. So if Monet is spelling it that way, someone inform her she's doing it wrong. I don't know who started it. I think she calls her show it that way, with the accent the wrong way. So again, another botch. I don't know if no one had time to look into shit. So her name, if it's spelt that way, is Mercedes Monet, not Monet. And I don't know if she does it that way, but damn, what a botch. French lessons with Phil. What is John Moxley doing in 2024? This might be the worst selling I've ever seen. Why the f did he just jump like that in forward roll? Guys, watch this. And I'm going to get Don Stevens, but watch this. Watch Moxley's selling, like, jump super high, stumbles, rolls, gets back. Like, what the f going on with this guy, dude? I don't know what's going on. If these guys are just washed or if Moxley just doesn't care because he's super rich. But everyone's allowed to just do whatever they want in this company. And that's horrendous. Like, I swear this is like, dude, you've given up. Like, what was this? Charlie in the Chocolate Factory asks, I'm hurt. Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, just kidding. Come in, children, to my chocolate factory. What the fuck is going on? And here's Tony with his shoes untied. I roasted Tony legendarily on the last show. So speaking of Darby Allin, earlier I talked about, yeah, they were at the Seahawks game. They got no reaction. Watch this, dude. And again, I don't mean to laugh, but imagine you're like, oh, you're all football fans. Oh, from the world of professional wrestling, here's Darby Allin and Aubrey Edwards, and everyone's like, okay. And then imagine, like, here's a big bad pro wrestler. He's standing there in a pink fucking jacket. He's there in a pink jacket, and you're all like, that's a wrestler? Like Roman Reigns or and then he botches the spit, like he just spits all over himself. He just bouquet keys himself with water there, like doesn't even Triple H spurts it. He's wearing a pink jacket. He's dressed like Lita Dumas, and everyone's like, dude, who is this guy? And Aubrey Edwards, zero crowd reaction. They're like, who are these? Is that his mom? And then Darby fake punches someone and they fall down and they didn't catch it on camera. Like, what an absolute. Imagine you're at that game and you see that, dude.
He doesn't look like a wrestler.
And compare that to Seth Rollins a week or so ago.
Compare it, Seth Rollins. Compare it to Joe Hendry
in the big screen.
Yeah, dude. If they put Joe Hendry on there, the crowd would have erupted. It's an epic fail. Ricky Starks has addressed his absence from AEW TV, confirms he is not injured. Ricky says, no, I'm not out of action due to injury. I'm healthy. I'm of sound mind and body. I'm capable to wrestle. Just, not up to me. I get a lot of messages lately where people are like, hey, just now, if he started planning his WWE run and Conan talked about it on his show as some hot news, Tony Khan would call him immediately and be like, oh yeah, can you still work? He goes, but yeah, I get a lot of messages. They care. I love them. I wish I can give an answer. I'm healthy. I'm ready to get back to work. I'm in shape, obviously been in shape, always in shape. I love wrestling. I'm going to figure out what to do one way or the other, but at least I know, fans, whatever. I need to know. I need somebody to figure out, do some dirt sheet digging and let me know when Ricky Starks is free. Is it like 2027, like some of these guys signed to? Is it like 2026? Is it like 2025? I'm hearing like, 2025 and 2027, some of these deals are going to be up. But I don't know. So hopefully he's not there till 2027, but he needs to get an NXT now, man. Ricky Starks, the face of NXT, call Ethan Page up. And that would just be amazing. No, it's who knows? And he's healthy. They're not using him. They're using guys like Jack Perry. No one cares about Daniel Garcia that no one gives about. Imagine a Ricky Starks MJF feud. But no, they're not. So they want to go with this. Free Ricky. That's all I'll say. But MVP's making his way out. We're about to see the Hurt Syndicate